I got no volume. Something's going on with the computer. It's all laggy and no volume. Okay, we got issue here. We're gonna skip that. Hang on, guys. When you know it's gonna go to run it, it won't run. We're gonna do something different. Let's go to. Hang on, guys. We're just gonna get some music going and then we'll go. We'll get going. We will be showing. We'll start the show in about 1 minute. Well, Big is in the house, baby. Thanks for the hearts. Appreciate you guys. What's going on? We'll get rolling here. We'll talk a little about what we're gonna do today. How you doing? Um, so what's the? We're probably not gonna run many. We probably won't run any auctions today. So everything's gonna be about the class today. There are some stuff in the buy it now. We have our kits are available today. I did run some perlite fluval. Good deal. Tifa, congratulations. I hope we pull it through for you. So let's see what we need to talk about before we get started. Oh, I want to say hi. We'll multi-streaming today. So you that are with us today from the other platforms, there should be uh um a little deal. You can take a picture of it with your phone. It'll bring you into the live where you can ask questions. We cannot answer questions on the other platforms. So if you want to be part of the classroom discussion, you'll want to take a picture. What do they call that, babe? That little, you guys know, barcode. There's a QR code. So if you're watching from a different platform right now, there's a little QR code on there. Yeah, thank you, Veronica. So if you take a picture of that with your phone, it will open up this platform. So the discussion if you want to be okay. we are multi-streaming today. So today, what this whole class is going to be about is going to be about learning tissue culture from the bag. I got to get my phone plugged in. From the bag to success. Okay. So that's the whole purpose. And if you guys don't mind, if you would put in the chat, um, I've ever had, I bought from you and are doing fantastic. Stormy, that's great to hear. I love hearing that because that's kind of, we didn't have much of a background back here, babe. No plants. What's that about? I'll put this back there. We didn't put no plants back here today. Let's put something up so see if people can see that we're actually growing something. Monstera, put this up there. Look at this thing. Crazy.
Black velvet gold variegated.
Look at that. Cool. You want to drop one with me?
Just
Well, give me one of those. Hang on, guys. We didn't leave you. I want that one. What is
you
that?
gotta look at the whole. They're black velvet golds.
Look at these black velvet golds. We weren't sure how these were going to turn out. We sold a bunch of them, but look at them already. Look how nice those are.
But these are black velvet golds, so they're all the same.
Yeah,
They're just cool. I can't
really
wait
cool.
till they get
We're going to show you a lot of that stuff today. Get water here. Oh, probably okay because I'm not moving those stickers. All right. Well, so today's class is going to be fried eggs. That's awesome. The fried eggs are great. I love the fried eggs. I love the variegated fried eggs. Look at this. Look at this variegated fried egg. You talk about a variegated fried egg. Look at it. It's almost pure white, man. Look at that. So that's the whole purpose of today's class. We want to take you from a bag, to something like this. So we want you, so when you buy from us, we want you to be successful. And that's the whole purpose of this class today. Okay, we're gonna teach you how to be successful. And it's not that hard. It's not as these are just examples. I want to show you what you can do by learning how to do tissue culture. These things are all wet still. Look at this thing. Look at the color on that thing. Awesome. Take on. That's great to hear. The white princess they'll kind of start off kind of slow, but then they'll just take off. They start out, they kind of, when they're little like that and they got that real small root ball, it takes them a while to get going. Okay. What are some things you can do today? If you want to support the classroom today, if you find value in what we're doing here, you can leave a tip. If you don't want to do that, you can tap the screen periodically through the chat. It'll leave like little hearts that go up, like you guys see them right there. Appreciate the person that's doing that. And what that does, it helps us to promote our lives more often. So we get more of a they promote our lives out better. Well, it just shows that we have some interaction going. So what we're gonna do today, we're gonna take you from a bag, right? Teach you how to set these up, which isn't that hard. It's not as complicated as everybody makes it out to be. We're going to take our time. We're going to answer questions. Periodically throughout the live, I'll have a stopping point where I'll stop and say, hey, okay, let's take questions. You guys got questions. Let's take them. Let's take them. Look at this. This is a nobilis. All right. So let's get going. We're going to have something cool today, too, guys. So, what I'm going to do at the end of our show today, after we go through the acclimation process and teaching you how to set up tissue cultures, and get you kind of more educated on what you should do, how to be prepared for it, and that we're going to, I'm going to mix up some agar today. So, I'm going to teach you kind of how tissue cultures start from the very beginning. So when people in the labs, how they get actually create the media. Okay, we're going to do that, and we've been working on that here. I do have some tissue cultures going of our own that we've done. Um, we have some agar that we just mixed up. Looks like that. And so we sell tissue cultures. We don't right now. This is just a hobby for us, the setting them up ourselves. But at some point, we hope to be able to produce tissue cultures and have them available, our own tissue cultures. Okay, so let's talk about any questions before we get started. All right, let's get going. All right, what is a tissue culture? Basically, a tissue culture is just a plant in a bag. That's what it's going to look like to you. It's like, okay, why do they call it tissue culture? It's a plant in a bag. It looks like this. And, I'm going to talk about how they're created. Tissue cultures are created in a laboratory environment. And if you look behind me, we're going to get into that today. We're going to show kind of what they do in the laboratories and how they're set up to a point. We're not going to go through the whole thing, but we're going to do part of it. Let me get rid of this light. This light is annoying to me. Let's see what this looks like. Nice. Is the lighting okay like that? How's the audio too? You guys let me know how the audio is. There's a problem with the audio or anything. Okay. Thank you for letting me know that. Uh, so basically, these are set up in a laboratory environment. They actually call these laboratories that where these come from. When I buy tissue cultures that I'm selling to you guys, I buy them from a lab. It's what they call them labs. They're plant labs. Okay. And so you have guys in like white suits, they got face masks on, they got shields on, they got rubber gloves. They look like they're going to an operating room. That's how these are created in a very sterile environment. So, the whole time this thing's in this bag, it's very happy. It's 100% humidity. It has all the vitamins it needs in here. It has growth hormones that it's telling it what to do. And until you open this bag up, this thing has never seen a virus, a mold, a bacteria. All the things that want to kill this thing is outside this bag. So as soon as you open this up, I want you to think of this tissue culture like a newborn child or your newborn baby you're bringing home from a hospital, right? I mean, when you bring your newborn baby home from the hospital, you keep it covered up. You don't want people breathing on it, coughing on it. And why is that? Because a newborn baby has no immune system. Neither does this plant. Okay. And we're going to teach it we're going to slowly take the humidity from 100% up to around 60, very slowly over a 6-week period. And it sounds complicated, but once you see us go through this, you'll realize it's not that complicated. Okay. Okay, so that's how they're created. They're created in a lab. And let me show you how they're created. They take a little piece of tissue, and that's why they call them tissue cultures, and they take a little piece of tissue and they put it in this stuff called agar. And inside this agar is all the vitamins and everything it needs. And then there's plant growth regulators in here that tells that plant what it wants it to do. So when they get started out, they use a multiplication media that tells the plant, hey, plant, I want you to multiply. Okay. Let me show you what that looks like. So here's one that we've been doing for about 2 months now, and you can see this went in there as one little tiny piece of tissue. And now look at it, right? We multiplied this into about 20 little tiny plants out of one little tiny piece of tissue. Okay. But this is a sterile environment. These were put into a autoclave and they were sterilized. So they're all happy. They're sitting there in that really nice, humid environment with everything they need, right? So That's how they're created. And you say, okay, why do we do this? Why don't we just buy a plant? Why do they do that in the lab? What's the purpose? Well, the purpose is you can take, let me see if I got one set up here. I got one right here. So here's one with one little piece of tissue in it. You see, you can't see it very well, but there's one little piece of tissue in there. And it starts out like this. And in 6 to 8 weeks, it'll look like that. So you take one piece of tissue and you just multiply it into 10 to 20 of them. Now we'll take that out there, we'll separate them and give them all their own container. Now that one tissue became, let's say, 10. Now we do that again in another 6 to 8 weeks. Now that 10 becomes 100. 100 becomes 1,000. You can see with just a matter of time, you can have 100,000 plants. And that's why they do it. It's very efficient. You're making clones of the mother plant. You're taking a piece of tissue from the mother plant, you're reproducing it. It's the exact plant that you took it from. Okay. So there's some advantages of that. And that's why in the industry, this is the industry standard now. If you go to Home Depot, you go to Lowe's, you go wherever and you buy a plant today, it was grown from a tissue culture. It's the industry standard. That's how everybody does that now. And hey babe, you see one of those things to clean my glasses? I think there's one right there by my chair. My glasses are kind of goofy looking. I'm looking through a cloud. Anyway, so that's how they're created. And you say, okay, well, that's cool, but why don't I just go buy a plant? Why buy a tissue culture? Thank you, man. Why buy a tissue culture? Well, I'll explain it to you. Okay. We're going to set up a pom pom today, a lemon pom pom, which when we first started, when we first got these, they were around $85 for the tissue culture. But a full grown pom pom is about $800. Okay. So what does that mean for you as a consumer? For you as a consumer, these are like $42 now. Yes, you do. You do have to start with no tissue. You can start with a tissue culture, and we're gonna show you how to do that today. And the class isn't really about teaching you how to make your own tissue cultures. I thought it'd just be a nice little add to the class at the end, so you can see what it takes as far as equipment and the time frame and all that to create it. Okay, so today we're gonna take this out of the bag and we're going to set it up. Let's go back to this. So this is how they're created in a lab. They're created, they take a little piece of tissue culture, they put it in a petri dish. Do you guys remember in high school how you used to like do experiments in science class and they'd have you take a petri dish and it have some gel looking stuff in there. They'd have you lick your finger and do this and then you look at it over a period of 2 to 3 weeks and you'll start seeing stuff growing in there. Well, that's what this is. It's the same exact stuff. It's called agar. So today we're going to teach you how to take this out, wash it correctly, and set you up for success. So step one on this is actually, um, let's go back to why we do it as consumers. Let's say you wanted this plant right here, a full grown one. Uh, you're looking at $800. Well, you can buy this tissue culture for say 50 or less, and now you can have that plant that you've always wanted, but you're not going to lay down $800 for that plant. Some people can, some people won't, but this is what it does for you as a consumer. Once you learn how to do this, which takes very minimum equipment to set them up, you can start having a really nice collection of plants on the cheap. If you tried to buy, let's say you decided, hey, I want 10 really nice premium plants. I'm going to start a collection. If you bought 10 like this, full grown, you'd be between $5 and $10,000. I'm not joking you. And I don't know if you guys seen my shirt or not. Think about what this shirt says right here. Okay. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. You know, these plants have become investment quality plants. All right. So if you're, that's what it does for you as a consumer. Now you can take $50, learn how to set these up correctly for a little bit of equipment, really not much. I'm going to show you all it really takes. Our humidity kit that we sell has everything it needs in there except for some peroxide and a brush and the tissue cultures. So that's, it doesn't take a lot to do that. Okay. So let's talk about the agar. So if this was your baby, right? And you look in there and your baby's got jelly all over it, what are you going to do? If that was your baby, what would you do? Hey, during the live today, if I say hit me with some hearts, you guys tap that screen a little bit, okay? What would you do? Okay, you look in there, exactly, you're going to wash its face, right? You're not going to leave your baby sitting there with jelly all over its face, right? So that's going to be the first thing we do is we're going to take it out of here and we're going to wash the jelly off. And then we're going to put it in and I'm going to go through this step by step, but I want you guys to kind of understand where we're going. Then we're going to put it in an antifungal wash, which is peroxide and water for 5 minutes. Then we're going to rinse it. We're going to put some rooting hormone on it. And everything we do from that point forward really isn't any different than setting up a tomato plant. Really. And we're going to walk you through that whole thing step by step. And then once you get it set up, it goes into a humidity dome. And then we're going to take the humidity from 100% down to about 60 over the next 5 to 6 weeks. And what we're doing, we're just trying to acclimate that plant. We don't want to take it out of 100% humidity and put it in 30. It will die like that. That's why you can't just take them out and plant them. They will not make it. They will not survive if you don't put them through acclimation. And you're going to have some loss. There's going to be some loss. If you set up 100 of these, more than likely you're going to lose 10, maybe 20. Depends on, you know, how much uh experience you have with doing it, and the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. Okay. So let's go through that. So what we're going to do, first thing we're going to do, we're going to cut this bag open. We're going to take it out of this bag, and then I'm going to show you how to wash it. Okay. Takes about 2 minutes. So first, I'm going to give you a couple steps. Any questions up to there? And I'm going to show you how I take this out of the bag and some precautions and some little tips on getting it out of the bag. Any questions up to that point? If you guys didn't know, they call me Go Big. This is what I do. I sell tissue cultures. You know, this is my full-time gig now. And we have this class every Thursday. For some reason, if you have to leave, we will be here next week on Thursday. We do this class every Thursday. And we bring this to you as just to bring you education. It's not about sales today. It's all about, hey, how can I be successful when I receive my plants in the mail? Who's your daddy? How I set the timing on a 79 355 motor? Um, I'm not I'm not real familiar on the 355. Let me give it some thought. I'll get back to you on that. Yeah, James, we'll go through all that, the temperature of the water, where to get the water and all that. I'll get back to you. Who's your daddy? Because I can show you a way that you can set timing on anything, even if it doesn't have a timing mark. Okay. I have a trick. All right. So let's go ahead and do the first step. First step is this. I highly recommend it. Pontiac backwards. Yeah, gotcha. I'll teach you. You just have to figure out where one is. Once you get to that point, you're good. Um, First thing you want to do, and the reason he's asking me that is because he knows I've been a mechanic for 40 years. I was a mechanic for 40 years. I retired and then I went back to work for a while. And then this is what I do now. I don't wrench anymore. My back is to the point it won't allow me to do that anymore. I still wrench on my own stuff as much as I can, as long as Betsy's not out there whipping me, telling me, put that down, quit bending over. All right. So here we go. Step one, in my opinion, get you some rubber gloves on. Okay. Here's the deal. Inside this bag, in this agar, is what they call PGRs, plant growth regulators. It tells the plant what you want it to do. So in the labs, they create agar like this, and they put chemicals in that agar to tell it what they want it to do. And 90% of the plant growth regulators are completely safe. There's about 10% that are not. And what I mean by not is that they have some plant growth regulators are what they call hydroscopic. Hey Tina, crazy life, how are you? Um, I sent you a message about your motorcycle today. Um, so the deal is you really don't know what plant growth regulators are in here. If you're pregnant, if you're old, if you're, I shouldn't say old, if you're elderly, if you have medical issues, she says our age. I'm not elderly yet. I don't know. I didn't check the calendar today. I think it is. Um, if you know, if you have any of those things going on, you do not want plant growth regulators floating around your bloodstream. And hygroscopic means you can absorb it through your skin into your bloodstream. So, not a good idea, I thought I was pregnant and I went to the doctor and I let Betsy off the hook today. I let her know the doctor said everything's good. I thought I was going to have to file for child support with her, but she's off the hook. So I thought I was going to have to tell my parents, but now I'm off that hook then. So anyway, you don't want these things. Yeah, it can make it grow bigger or make it shrink up. One of the two depends on what regulators in there. You don't want roots growing where they're not supposed to, right? Here we go. So in other words, don't be handling this stuff with your hands, guys. Get you some gloves. They're like $7-8 on Amazon. I like having them around anyway. In case I got to pack the wheel bearings on the pickup or something. They're nice to have around. So put your gloves on. First thing, put your gloves on, please. And now treat this thing like it's something that you don't want your grandchild to be getting a hold of and walking around sucking on this bag, right? So here's another tip. When you cut this, pay attention. It sounds silly, but I'll tell you, it's not silly. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of times, like when I pour out plant growth regulators, I put it in my flower beds. Anything I'm not going to eat. So if it's in a container, it's a flower like bulbs or something like that. I'll pour it in there because I'm not going to eat them. So I feel pretty confident that's a good place to put it, right? And my bulbs grow really well. So anyway, here you go. Here's 2 tips. When you cut this bag open, don't cut the leaf off. I've done it. Pay attention. The other thing is, you see this little label right here? We have a label maker. So we make our own little labels. I'm supposed to. I get I get threatened all the time because I forget to do it. But see the little labels? We put those on everything so we know what they are, when they were set up, what the date is, and all that good stuff. But what's nice, if you don't have a label maker, just cut that label out give it a good wash, and then let it dry, and then just tape a piece of tape because it already has the name of the plant on it, which is nice to know. Once you get started and you do like one or two of these, you're gonna have 50 of them. Believe me. You think I'm crazy, but you wait and see. Once you do it like one or two times, man, you're gonna have a tray of these things, right? So keep the label, put the date on it. The date's gonna become very important, okay? All right. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to open this up. And what I do, I don't cut the whole top of the bag off. I stop it about right here. So I don't have two pieces to deal with. Because when I get the plant out of here, I want it to go straight in the trash. I got a trash can right here. I don't want my dog to find it and eat it, or get my grandchild walking around sucking on the bag. Be responsible with these bags. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it. I'm going to stop part way, leave it. See how I leave that little tag on there? Then we're going to go ahead and reach in there and pull this out. And I want to kind of retain the gel for a reason. See the gel on there? That's what we're worried about. That's what we're trying to get off. Okay? It's very important. I'm going to talk to you about why that's important. So right now I'm just going to drop this in a container behind me on the bench, and it's just water. And we're going to go over that, over the water, where to get it, why, and all that good stuff, okay? So I'm going to dispose of this bag like I said I would. And think about if you have any questions right now up to this point, and I'm going to move the camera over here to the bench so we can get a really nice shot of what we're doing. And we're going to go through the process, talk about the water, talk about how to wash it. We're going to talk about, the antifungal soak. The antifungal soak, honestly, is the only difference other than any other plant that you have set up in your life. It's like setting up a tomato plant for the garden. No different, other than you need that antifungal wash or soak, and then it goes into a humidity dome. And then we'll talk about what we do over the next 5 to 6 weeks with that humidity dome. Let me do this real quick. Where's my other one at? Hang on, I got some little cheat sheets I want you guys to take screenshots of. Where's my other one at? Hang on. Give me just a second. I'm going to move all this stuff. I think I lost one of my cheat sheets. I don't know why I can't keep track of those. I can't. See if we got one in here. I think the one's got, there it is, right there. Okay, guys, I'm going to have you screenshot these. If you buy a humidity kit from me, it comes with these labels in the kit. Okay, this is a 1 through 8. What's happening? Seed Queen Night. I know I haven't been on. I've been waiting for my new inventory to come in. But I am going to start doing a second class. We're going to start doing a hydro class. I'm getting that together. Yeah, I miss you guys too. I mean that when I say that. I miss you guys. You're my buddies. You're my hangout partners. If I don't get to be on here every 2 or 3 days, I start feeling like um I'm letting you down. You know what I mean? Here, let's do this real quick. Betsy's got some explaining to do. Do you hear that? She's outside. I'm gonna remind her. What we're doing, we're moving all the seeds and the gardening stuff to her channel. Okay. Let's do some screenshots real quick. Hey, if you guys don't know, you can swipe the screen to the left. It'll get all the writing out of your way. So you can get a real nice screenshot. This is a 1 through 8 of what to do to get it out of the bag. Okay. And we're gonna go through this stuff step by step. If you guys are in a hurry, I would recommend go get you a cup of coffee because it's gonna be about an hour plus class today. Go ahead, Morris fam. So screenshot that. Okay. And here's another screenshot. You're doing it from TC into in the stratum and perlite. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I recommend. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Monstera, absolutely. Stratum and perlite. I don't do the self watering when I'm acclimating. Really, the cream brulees are pretty nice, huh? They rock and roll, man. Yeah. Thanks for saying that. Appreciate it. I get excited when I get to see. It's like giving away puppies, you know, when you get to see them and they're starting to grow, you're like, "Wow, they look awesome." You know. Okay, here's another screenshot. It tells you what to do week by week. So once it goes into the dome, this is a cheat sheet so you know what to do. No problem. No, I don't recommend self-watering for the acclimation period. When they come out of acclimation, yeah, sure. But you know, usually I recommend just you'll see what we do today. And then once they come out of acclimation, let them get kind of root bound a little bit before you try to transplant them out. And then you can go right into a self-watering, no problem. I like the self-watering personally, especially if you're a person that spends a lot of time away from home. You know, you're going to be gone for 2 or 3 days at a time. No problem. No problem at all. So anyway, screenshot that. That'll give you what to do after you get it into the dome. And we're going to walk through this step by step. All right. And then this last one, screenshot this, and I'll talk about this to you guys so you kind of know what to do with this. All right. Let me move the camera. I'll get some music going while I'm doing this so you don't have to silence is a virtue, I guess, not for me. I'll play a little music while we're moving. Scotch and one beer, one bourbon, one scotch, one beer. George Thorogood, baby. One scotch, one beer. I'm blessed. Oh man, I got to get blessed. Love me a triple shot of that stuff. One boy, one scotch, one beer, one bourbon, one scotch, one beer. Singing's free. Okay, let's get rolling. Hang on. Give me just 1 minute. I need some shoes, man. I got sensitive feet. Okay, let's talk about the water real quick. So, what I recommend, so the water you want it to be room temperature. Same, we'll show you the same mix up for Philo's, same thing. Pretty much universal. Let's make sure we got a good. Can you guys see that pretty well? Do we need to do anything else with it? Let me get it in view first. How does that look? Can you see okay right there? Do we need to get closer than that? We'll talk about the water. Okay. The water, I use my tap water. And what I tell people is if you don't know the quality of your water, use distilled water. You can get it at Walmart for like $3. If you feel confident with your water, you can just use tap water. Some people say, "Oh, you gotta let it sit overnight," and that, and you can do that if that makes you feel better. But I personally don't. I've never had a problem with it. What it does when you let it sit over for 24 hours, it'll evaporate off all the chlorine that's in the water. Okay, so basically just a container with water in it. That's all this is. Plain water in a container. Okay. And usually when I go in, I'll go in with the TC. I'll put leaves down first, give it a little swish like that. It gets a big part of the agar off. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about roots real quick. You do not have to have roots on a tissue culture for it to survive. Okay. Um, so I'm going to show you. This is what I use to wash them with. I use an old paintbrush. Look at that old funky thing. I'm surprised nobody has said, "Hey, boy, why don't you get a new brush?" I love this brush. Okay. They have some brushes at Home Depot called Woozers. I really like those. I need to go pick one up. I keep saying that, but I haven't done it. I would recommend that brush. Um, yeah, this is has good bristle on it. It's not real soft. It's not real aggressive. So basically, what you're going to do is just take this tissue culture and wash it all the root up. I don't get in the stem and all that and the leaves. I just do where the agar is. So, in other words, when you go to start washing this, don't be all baby in it like this, like you're afraid to touch the thing. Okay. I want you to aggressively scrub this thing. I would rather you knock all the roots off this because it ain't going to matter. There's people that have been doing this for a long time. Like there's a root right there. You see it floating around that we already knocked off. I would rather you knock all the roots off this thing than to not get it clean. And that's why sometimes I'll get messages from people that said, "Hey, I got my TC from you and one of the roots is broken." It don't matter, guys. It will not matter. Believe me. I've done enough of these to tell you it will not matter. We're gonna probably knock some of these off right now. So when you wash this, I want you, man, give this thing a scrubbing. Don't be babying it. Scrub it really good. And I say give yourself 2 minutes. So I'll do like 1 minute and just work your way around it. Turn it the other way. Get every angle, right? Turn it over. Keep scrubbing it. See that? I just knocked the root off. Do you see that? I don't care. I really don't care that I knocked that root off. It's not that critical. Okay. So give it a good washing. You're gonna go and I've had people say, "Man, you're gonna spend 2 minutes on that thing." Well, you know what? If I spend $100 on this tissue culture, I can give it 2 minutes of my time. You know, and we have a new system we're working on where you don't have to do this. You don't have to scrub them by hand. And I'm reluctant to release it yet because I want to test it about one or two more times we've had probably about 10%. We have about 10% loss right now with using this new system. And with the new system, we're not scrubbing them by hand anymore. We're doing 50 at a time. And I'll talk to you about it. And you can always dunk it into water like that, you know. Just give it a good washing. Now think about if this was your 10-year-old kid that just came in from playing in the mud, you gonna go like this? Oh, here, let me get that little mud off. Hell no, you're gonna scrub the crap out of that kid. You're gonna say, give me that rag, scrub them ears. Give it a good washing, man. Don't be afraid to wash this thing. This is the most important part right now, is what we're doing. To if you're gonna be successful or not. Okay. If you leave this agar on, we're going to go over it later because I'm going to mix up some agar so you guys kind of understand. Agar has sugar in it, and sugar and moisture is a guaranteed house of bacteria and mold because it gives the mold and the bacteria something to eat. You got to get the sugar off this thing, okay? And what I'll do, I'll just wash like that. Just pretend you're trying to paint this thing with this brush. Just paint it. You don't get every little crack you can. You know, like if you're painting your wall, right, you wouldn't leave like little strips unpainted. And like you can tell, I'm not really concerned about this from this up. I'm just concerned about this root ball. And I'm going to give you guys a shot of this water. You see all this floating around in there? Those are roots that I knocked off. And guess what? I don't care. And you shouldn't care either. You want to get this thing clean. Okay? Hey, babe. Can you bring Alexa in here for me? Alexa, she's in there on the counter in the kitchen. I forgot about it. Good thing I got a helper, huh? Oh, Betsy, she's my helper. She's a lot of help for me. She keeps me lined out. Say hi to Bets, everybody. So, Morris Fam says you got a lot of explaining to do about your seed sale that didn't happen.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it, she says. We're moving everything over to her channel for that.
Yeah, I got some.
Tina said, "Hi, beautiful Betsy, Nature Crush. Hi, Betsy.
Hello.
Betsy, did you do your venom?
Did I?
Did you set up your venom yet?"
Yes, and they're fabulous.
She says yes, and they're fabulous.
Fabulous.
Yep, they're doing great. Do you get any pink on yours yet?
Let me see.
Morris fam, how's yours looking? Because they looked kind of like they might be pink venoms. Because they don't look normal. They look different.
I don't know. I think I'm in love, actually.
Yeah, Betsy says she's in love. With me, of course.
Of course.
I'm hard to resist.
I don't know. They're such a color.
She says, does yours have variegation? She says hers has white speckles on it.
Not yet.
She says, not yet. Hers are pretty solid.
Wonderful.
Okay, we're going to call that good, guys. Now look at all this root I knocked off. You guys see that? There's a lot of root floating around in that water. See all that root that I knocked off? I just knocked that all off. And I don't care because I'd rather it be clean. Now this is a lemon pom-pom. These were $85 when I first started selling these, and I lowered them down to like 42. I can run some pom-poms today if somebody wants to pick one up. Okay. I got a good deal on them right now.
See, no speckles yet.
She says no speckles on hers. Let me show you.
Really?
Let me show you her venoms real quick. Here's her venoms.
I don't know. They're really pretty.
They're starting to kick butt though.
Yeah.
You like those little containers? I'm really starting to love these. She says she's going to send a picture of hers. She says ours are huge.
Really?
Okay, so what I'm going to do with this right now, I'm just going to let it soak over here in that container of water. So while we talk about what we're going to do now. So step one, we're going to take it out of the bag. I'd like to see that. Step one, we're going to take it out of the bag, right? We're going to label it. I didn't label mine yet. We're going to wash it in water with a brush for 2 minutes. Now we're going to go over what the and I'm going to teach you how to do this on the cheap. And I want to tell you right now, other people have other ways of doing it. This is how Go Big does it. And I'm always under the impression that if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? It works and it's on the cheap. We use peroxide for our antifungal. Okay. Just basic peroxide you can get at 7-Eleven at 3 in the morning. Okay. They have some other products. A lot of times people will use Teen 20, which is a surfactant, but also, and it's kind of expensive and you can't get it at 7-Eleven. But check it out. You know what's also a surfactant? Just plain Dawn dish soap. Okay. So here's the amounts I do. I use these ball jars. So I fill the water up right to that first ridge. See that line? Not where the threads are for the jar, but just that first line. And then we go in with peroxide. But before we do the peroxide, we're going to put 2 drops of liquid detergent. Okay, 1, 2. And what that does, that just breaks the water tension of the water so the fluid can get all over the surface of the plant. Okay. And then we mix in either 5 squirts or right to the top of this. So we just go like this 1, 2. You see the suds? 3, 4, 5. And usually when you see, by the time we get to 5, we're right at the top right there. So about a ½ inch of peroxide in a 16-ounce canning jar. Okay. So that's our antifungal wash. Okay. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take it out of the container that we washed it from, right? We're going to go leaf down and submerge it all the way under and set alarm for 5 minutes. Alexa, set alarm for 5 minutes.
Alarm set for 5 minutes from now.
Okay. You want 5 minutes. You don't want 5 hours. You don't want 5 days. It needs to be 5 minutes. Okay. Peroxide, as far as peroxide, so what we do, we fill up these ball canning jars to the first ridge right there. And then take the rest of the up to the top with peroxide. So about a ½ inch in a 16-ounce canning jar of peroxide. It's not that critical. Okay. So then once it goes in, you want to make sure it goes fully submersed when it first goes in. And also two drops of liquid detergent in there as well. Okay, now it's going to soak for 5 minutes. Okay, very important this part. The 5 minutes is very important. Okay, after it gets done with its 5 minutes, we're just going to rinse it in straight water. So it gets washed with the brush, 5 minutes in here, it gets rinsed, and then we're going to set it up like any other plant you would have set up. Before it goes into the pot, we're going to use some rooting powder. You can use your favorite rooting powder. We've used Clonex gel, different things, but I really like this powder. And why do I like it? Because I can get it at Walmart for $7. Okay, we're trying to teach you how to do this on the cheap. So take a screenshot of that. You can get this on Amazon and you can get it on at Walmart. Just a basic rooting powder. Okay. So check it out. We'll talk about these in a little bit. These are tissues that we grew from one tissue. So Betsy decided, hey, we're going to try to set these up as corms and see how they do. So we set these up from one little piece like this. See that? We let it grow into a big clump and then we cut them up into pieces. So we took one corm and we created, let's see what we got in there. 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 9, 10 corms in here, plus we set some others up. So we took one little corm and we created like 20. Right? So that's the beauty of learning how to do tissue cultures. And I teach showing you this stuff, guys, so you realize I'm not just a guy that's buying stuff and flipping it. I try to educate myself as much as I can with what I'm doing, and I'm actually getting to the point now where we're actually producing our own tissue cultures. So that's kind of cool. So that stays in for 5 minutes. Then it goes into water. We rinse it. Then we're going to put the roots in some rooting powder. And then I'm going to use our humidity kit that we use. Okay, so I'm going to go grab that humidity kit and talk about the humidity kit. And there's a lot of different ways you can do this. You can really do it on the cheap, man. You can use a Taco Bell cup, right? You can use a plastic bag. There's all different ways to do it. But this kit is a good deal for 18 bucks because you get everything you need except for some rooting powder, some tissue cultures, peroxide, and a brush. You know, and I'll talk about why we do this. I'm gonna go grab the other piece real quick. Is everybody having a good time? You gotta be having a good time here. It can't just be, I don't want it to be boring. Let me know if you're getting bored. I can sing and dance. All right. I can't dance worth the shit, but I'll give it a shot. Okay. Give me some hearts, baby. We're gonna have we got a new shipment coming in. It's supposed to be here tomorrow. So we'll probably have a big auction on Friday. Big order coming in. Lots of pinks. All right. So this is why we use these. Alexa off. What I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to transfer this and I'm going to show you how I rinse this. I usually just take it like this 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I set it up. But I'm just going to leave it soaking in there while we talk about this. All right. So it gets soaked 5 minutes and it gets rinsed. Okay. I don't like these. These things usually come in these kits like this. I don't care for them. They're too close. And you're going to have loss. So let's say you set these all up and this one right here starts to turn black and yucky. It's very hard to get it out of there. I've tried. You can take it out. You can vacuum it out. It always leaves some contamination behind, which I don't like. When you have contamination, you want to get it out away from your other tissue cultures that you spend your hard-earned money on, right? So we came up with this. I like using these. The only downfall of these, you can only do 4 at a time, but it's a nice pot, good sized pot. You can leave them in there for quite a while after they get acclimated. The nice thing about these, they don't tip over because it has this little thing that we came up with. And then it separates them farther apart. And then you don't want the leaves touching anything if you can help it. So a lot of times on these, right? Like you'll get them set up in there and this one's touching that one. And there ain't shit you can do about it once it's in there. On these, what you can do is once it if it's touching, you can rotate these around, get the leaves away from each other. Okay. Here's the part I like. Let's say I paid $100 a piece for these tissue cultures. There's $400 right there. Let's say this one starts turning black and yucky. I can just reach in and pull that out. Now I got the contamination out of my system. I'm not going to contaminate all the rest of them. That's why I like these. And that's what our kit comes with. It comes with these 4 pots. It comes with this. And it comes with the Fluval ready to go. It's pre-mixed. Oh, remember you guys, a lot of you guys were asking me about this. I have this now available for purchase. It's a separate shipping charge though. You can put 5 of these to a box for $9.21 shipping. Let me pull them up for you guys so you see what I'm talking about. It's in the buy it now. Okay, there it is. So you can buy just the mix now. You can buy just this bag. And it's Fluval Perlite mixed together, and that's what we use. and we're going to talk about that right now. Okay. So I'm going to go get my bucket that I normally use for this, and I'm going to show you how to set that plant up correctly. Any questions? Any questions? Anything that just ripped by and I didn't give you a good explanation on? Where's my thing I had plugged in? I lost my charger. Hang on. Hey, did you steal my cord? What happened to my charge cord? Oh, it's right here. Always blame her. She stole it from me. She likes stealing my stuff.
The cord stealer's asking if I stole.
She's calling me the cord stealer. She says, "How many damn cords do you need?" I said, "As many as it takes," which is many. Okay. What was I going to do? I wanted to. Oh, I got to. Let me get this water out of the way real quick. So I got a spot. I don't need this anymore. Okay. One of the things you want to get in the habit of doing is when you buy fluval, straton, perlite that's already mixed, like in my kits, is stir it up real good. Because I'll show you why. This fluval straton has a tendency to separate, and the fluval stratons is the black, and it's heavier than the perlite, and it'll kind of go to the bottom. So you want to give it a good mixing before you get going here. Instead of using this fancy, I got this at a yard sale. I liked it. It was cool. I was like, I'm gonna use that first. But you can just use a tablespoon. Okay. Okay, let's go into this part. Let's talk. I'll talk about the fluval statin and the perlite. Why the kit kind of saves you a lot of money. Okay. So here we go. Let's see. We got a good shot here. Let's get this kind of straightened up a little bit. Okay. A lot of people, the way they'll do it is they'll take and they'll fill the pot or whatever they're doing like this. And I'll talk about a bunch of different ways you can do this. You don't have to buy the kit, man. There's easier ways. Okay, a lot of people will do this and then they try to dig a hole and try to get the plant in there, which is almost impossible. So I learned this from a girl on YouTube. I always give her credit for this. Her name is Plants in Jars. For those that are with me today on the other platforms, if you take a picture of the, I don't know why I can't remember those things are called. The little square thing on your screen, it will bring you over here where you can be part of the chat. There goes our bio tilt. It just cycled. Hey, I'm going to take you guys off this for a minute. I want to see you guys to see the BioTilt. And we'll talk about the BioTilt in a little bit. This is our BioTilt system that we used for doing tissue cultures. And you're going to see in 30 seconds, it's going to cycle back. And what it is, it's a hydroponic system for tissue cultures. It's on an automatic timer. It runs off a motor. It's made by a company called Plant Revolution, I believe. But you'll see it's going to cycle in just a second. It should. If it don't, we'll go on to something else. So what this, see how it does that? So it's on a timer and it automatically transfers the fluid. And I'm only showing you this because it happened to come on while we were doing this. Okay, we'll talk about this later. So that's our temporary immersion system for doing tissue cultures. What do I do? Here we go. All right, let's go back to this. So here's the way to do it is don't put nothing in the pot yet, okay? And I'm gonna plug my charger back in. It's just that's what I've always used and it's worked, so I don't really actually in my opinion, the problem is moss is actually an organic substance. So it has organic properties. It will break down. It can grow stuff on it that you're not going to get in volcanic rock. Perlite is just an inorganic substance. It has no any kind of organic material on it. So it's more like hydroponic type. When you mix moss, in my opinion, you're adding organic material to a hydroponic system, which is a bad idea, in my opinion. People do it though. Everyone has their own way of doing it. I do what works for me. This has always worked for me. Betsy, she doesn't like that much perlite. She likes to use more fluval because it holds the plant better. She just doesn't feel like the perlite. She thinks it dries out too much. So everybody's a little different. So let me show you the process here for doing this. Get your plant out, right? Hold it in your left hand. Here's another thing. If you have roots that are problem children, they don't want to cooperate, trim them off. Don't stress over it. Just take scissors and cut them out of the way. I'm going to leave this one the way it is. Here's the nice thing about this way of doing this. Hold this in your left hand, then hold a pot like this, right? And now you can adjust the plant up or down wherever you want it or side to side. So it's real easy to get it like really centered in your pot, which is what you want so that leaves don't touch. Yeah, don't use plugs. I'll go over plugs in a little bit. And I can give you some recommendation on plugs if you're going to use plugs. I don't care for plugs. I'd rather do this. The reason people use plugs, it's nurseries use them because they're fast. That's the whole reason. Not because they're better. They're because they're fast. So see how I leave that little crack right there with my finger right there? Just fill into that crack once you get your plant where you want it, right? I'll usually like give it a little tap like that and just keep filling that in. Give it a little tap and just keep doing that until you feel like you're at the depth that you want to be. And one little tip I'll give you right now is when you move your fingers away, you have to really be careful because you will rip it right back out of the soil again. And if you do, just repot it. It's not a big deal. But I'm going to show you. Now I'm going to move my fingers, right? And right back here, you're going to see there's a hole because the medium didn't make its way all the way back there. So when you move your fingers right now, just go real slow. Don't go ripping them out of there. See that hole it left behind? Now we're just going to take this. We're going to backfill that where that hole was left, right? You can see that little root that got left sticking out? We could have trimmed that out of the way. Now look at this. This, ideally, we would like for this leaf not to be touching anything. Because if you're going to get mold, that's where it's going to happen, right where it touches that container. So we'll just keep an eye on it. And then if this molds, we'll just reach in there with a pair of scissors that we've sprayed with alcohol, and we'll clip that out of there, keep it from happening. So ideally, it's centered pretty nice. That's kind of where we want it. So I'm happy about that. Not happy about this one root. Later on, I'll probably trim that root out of there. Okay. So there we go. That's how you pot it up. And we'll talk about the fluval straton and perlite. Let me show you how to water it in, and we'll come back to the fluval straton and perlite. When you water these in, I see a lot of people, they'll do this and go, okay, I gave it water, and they're done. You are not done. You want to water this thing until there's water rolling out the bottom. And we'll talk about plugs in a minute. So water it, work your way all the way around the container. Keep watering it. You cannot overwater this thing right now. You want to water it until water flows. You see that, how it's flowing out? After you start seeing it flow out of the bottom, go ahead and give it another big drink. You want this thing fully saturated. Now, in my opinion, that thing is fully saturated, ready to go in the humidity dome. Okay? Ha 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 ha. I'm glad you asked that question. Tina Marie, you know how many times I've done that? So we're going to teach you what to do when you forget your rooting powder. We're going to go like this. We're going to unpot it. It's easy to forget that. I've done it so many times. I'm glad you asked me. I've done that like 3 times on the live. So I'm just going to rinse this back off in the water to get the stuff off. And we're going to give you a second chance at seeing how to do this. Yes, I forgot. I have CRS. Okay. And I've done that. I'm kind of glad I did it because I'll show you what to do if you do that. Because I've done it a lot of times. And you don't want to not put the rooting powder on. If you do that, do exactly what I just did. Unpot it. Go ahead and get the powder on there. You just want the roots to be nice and white. You see that? And you know what? Now that we have it out of here, I'm going to go ahead and trim. Well, I don't have a good pair of scissors handy. I would trim this right now. See that root right there? I would just take that off. I had my scissors in the other room. Okay, so I would trim that. So rooting powder, okay? We'll go ahead and go back to this pot that we had. We're going to hold it in our left finger like we had before. Now I'm going to scoot this wet part over here because if it's wet, it's hard to put in. So I'm going to try to use the dry. And then do the same thing again. Go ahead and go in the edge right there. I'm kind of glad we did that, man. Once this stuff gets wet, man, it's hard. It takes a while for it to dry out. And it's easier to put in when it's dry than when it's wet. Okay, now we're going to move our hand real slow like we did before. Now look at that. You see how I left that big hole? We got to backfill that. So we fill that hole. I couldn't have made this any harder. I should have filled that container up a little more. Okay, so now we're backfilled, right? We ended up a little bit to the edge. Not too bad. Now we'll go ahead and water it again. And I'm going to show you just like before. We're going to water it until water runs out of this thing. Not just a little bit. We want to see it flowing. See that? That's what you want to see. And there's a reason for that. You want this to be fully saturated when it goes into the dome. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and plop this in our kit. And then see how that leaf right there is touching right there? If you were in those other little holders, these here, there's not much you can do. But with these, you can just go like this, right? And you can rotate that, which is kind of nice. Okay? So here's another trick. Pay attention. You want to do this. See this? Right inside this lower tray, give it about 2 tablespoons of water. Right in the bottom tray. Okay, 2 tablespoons of water in the bottom tray. Now that thing's ready to go. Okay, take your dome. First thing you do is make sure that this vent is closed 100%. Sometimes I tell people take a piece of tape, put a little piece of tape there so it won't move. Put the powder on the roots. On the roots. Just take the plant and just rotate it around in the powder, in your powder. Okay? So this part of it, here's a little trick. Make sure this is closed. Tape this if you have to. If you have helpers in the house, tape this closed so it can't be turned on accident. Take your lid, get you a squeeze bottle. Put some humidity in this lid. You want the lid to look like that. Can you guys see the spray and how it's all humidified? Then go on like that. Okay. Now you're set up. You're ready to go. Now you're going to go through the humidity process. One thing I do is I put these little black clips, one on each side here, just so these don't pop up. They have a tendency to pop up. Okay? Let me see if I have a set. I'll never have a set of those when I need them. I'll show you what they look like. It was sitting there. Hang on, I didn't lose me. I'm just looking for something, like usual. I'm always looking for something, it seems like. So the clips I use, they look like this, but they're tiny. They're little tiny ones, and you put one here, and you put one here. Okay. Any questions up to this point, and we'll move on. Let me get these gloves off. I don't need them anymore. Any questions up to that point? So now this thing's ready to go. Should have a label on there that says what kind of plant it is and the date they were set up. The date becomes very important. I'm going to show you the little label that I showed you. You can take this, put the type of plant. This is a lemon pom-pom. I would write Monstera lemon pom-pom. This is the rooting powder we use. You can get a screenshot of this. You can get it at Walmart. It's like $7-8. If you do multiply. Tanya, if you want to hang out, I'm going to go over that whole thing after the class. We're going to actually mix up some agar and talk about that. Okay? Because there's different types of mediums in the agar depending on what you want it to do. So take a screenshot of this. You take this to the calendar, you write the plant name and what it is, and put the date that you set it up. And then on the calendar, while you're standing right there, put the date at 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. I mean, if you do like 2 or 3 at a time, do you use the same water and stuff or separate? You can do up to like 10. You don't have to separate each time. I wouldn't do more than about 10 in a small container like that. If you're going to do more, just mix up more solution. Go to a bigger container. I have a system I'll show you guys at some point. I do 50 at a time, and I don't brush them. It's a new system. I think it's going to work out great. Yeah, good deal. Good deal. So this thing, what you do is you put the dates in. While you're standing there at the calendar, circle the dates on the calendar and draw a little plant or put a little sticker there. So when you see it, you know, hey, I need to do something today with my tissue cultures. It just keeps you lined out. Okay. So let's go through now. What do we do with this thing? First of all, you want this at about 75 to 80 degrees if you can do that. That's a recommended 75 degrees is actually perfect. And just diffuse light. You don't want bright light on this. Don't put this in the windowsill. It'll overheat and die. Okay. You're going to want to use some artificial lighting. These that we sell actually have a little light in them. Let me show you real quick. They actually have a 4-cell LED in them. So they have an LED light in them. They don't come with the harness though, unless you buy 3. If you buy 3 of these, you'll get the electrical harness. And these are a basic harness. Most people have one of these in their drawer. It's the old style cell phone setup. It's a mini USB. Anyway, if you're going to go with your own lighting, see how that pops up? If you have one that does that, just flip this around. And that's why I use those little clips right here. See how they have a tendency to pop up? That's why I do that. The natural light, you can use natural light if it's just like, you don't want it in a windowsill. You'll get what they call the greenhouse effect. And you know how like you're in your car in the springtime with the windows up and it gets hotter than hell in the car? and you roll the window down and it's cool on the outside, that's what'll happen. It'll overheat. Too much, the light will overheat this thing. You can use, like, if you're getting light in the room from across the room, you'll be fine. Just don't put it in a windowsill where the sun's shining right on it. Okay? It'll overheat. Now, if you're setting this up, you have a grow room or something, and you got a big old high intensity light in there, just take a piece of notebook paper and put it over the top so you can diffuse the light a little bit. They don't need a lot of light. They need light, but they don't need like a blasting light. Too much light's not good at this level, at this point, okay? So let's start going through, okay, what do I do now? I got it set up. I got my light on there. I got this closed. I got the, the water in the bottom. I sprayed my lid. Week 1 and 2, go back to your cheat sheet. And I'm going to go through this. Week 1 and 2, it says, what do? I don't do nothing. Why? Leave this thing alone. For 2 weeks, forget you own this thing. I don't want you carrying it over to your neighbor's house, walking outside to show your best buddy, hey, look what I got. I have a TC that's been in a cup with reservoir for a week. One leaf is moldy. Should I repot a new substrate and sanitize it again? No water reservoir. Yeah, probably what I would do on that one, I would just dump it out, trim off the bad leaf with a pair of scissors that you sprayed with alcohol. Go ahead and do the 5-minute soak again and repot it, rinse it just like you were starting over, and put it in perlite and fluval stratin. Probably those self-watering cups, in my opinion, are just too damp. It doesn't mold because ideally this thing is sterile. I mean, when you take it out of the bag, it's sterile. It can mold. Sometimes it happens, but not very often. And that's one of the reasons we do the soak. It's an antifungal soak. It gets rid of fungal disease. Yeah, there's all different ways to do it. Like I said, there's a million of ways, and that's what I tell people. If you go to somebody else's live, they may show you a completely different way of doing it. This is how I do it because it's always worked. This is my method and it works for me. So there's all different ways to do it. And I recommend trying different ways until you find one you really like. So the first 2 weeks on this, leave it alone. Don't do anything to it. Just leave it alone. Don't open it. Don't mess with the vent. Don't carry it around. Don't move it from one side of the room to the other. Just set it up and leave it alone for 2 weeks. Why? We want this to be at 100% humidity for the first 2 weeks. Okay, on week 3, on day 15, you're going to open this vent ever so slightly just so you can tell it's open. See that? Now you're going to leave it for a week like that. On week 4, we're going to move that dial until it's halfway. On week 5, we're going to open it 100%. And then on week 6, we're going to start taking this lid off for a few hours at a time. Take it off, put it back on after a couple hours. Maybe a couple days go by, you do it for 2 hours a day, and then you increase it to 4 hours a day. Then you increase it to 8 hours a day. And then at some point during week 6, you just leave this off all day. If after you get this lid off after the 6-week period, you look in there and that plant is happy, you just treat it like any other plant you've ever owned. If you look in there and that plant is wilted, it's laying over on its side and it's sad, put the lid back on for a few more days. The plant's going to let you know. Okay? Typically, in our situation, we normally do not have to water again after we set these up. But if for some reason they get really dried out, you can always add a little more water to the bottom of the tray. And sometimes around week 5, you'll have to give them a little squirt of water. And what I do, you don't water them like you did before. Just give them a little squirt like that and call that good. You just want to get them out of the humidity dome. Okay? Any questions about that part of it? Should I add coco coir for my monsteras that I want to put in aeroid soil instead of semi-hydro like my alocasias? When they're mature. For my monsters, when I want to put in aeroid soil. You can, yes, you can do that. I sometimes on my stuff, because I go straight from this into my hydroponic system, I will actually mix 2/3 um, perlite to 1/3 of cocoa because I'm going to go straight into my hydro with it. Depends on what you're going to do with it. Or you can transplant this with perlite and fluval straight into whatever you want to use. It will be fine. And what I recommend is like once you get them all set up, leave them in these little pots or whatever pot you're using for like 4 weeks so they get some good root going on before you try to transplant them. They don't need to be transplanted right away. Let me show you something about transplanting. Look at this plant. This is a dragon's breath. Let me see. You can't even see it. It's so big. This is a dragon's breath. It's got a 14-inch leaf on it. Look at that. That's a 5-inch deli cup. You don't have to be in a big hurry to transplant, guys, especially with alocasias. They don't need a big old amount of soil. But this is in hydro. You got to remember, I run these in hydro. So it's not. So once these have been out of acclimation, just treat them like any other plant. And I'd start fertilizing them with like a quarter strength or an 1/8 strength fertilizer. Yes, exactly. That's my opinion as well. You don't need to be repotting it until, and be nice to the roots, man. Roots matter. You don't want to be yanking on the roots and doing weird stuff with the roots. Some people like when they get big, you can really scrub on them and stuff. But when they're small like this, if you mess with the roots too much, they won't kill them, but you're gonna delay how they grow. Okay. Any questions up to that point? And we'll talk about different ways you can do this on the cheap. Okay. No venting at all for the first 2 weeks. Now, let me talk about one more thing I do, and I always do this at the end so you don't get confused. On week 3, 4, and 5, and it's on the cheat sheet, once a week, just take the lid off and just do one of these and put it back on. We call that Fresh Air Friday. We do that so we can remember on Friday, we need to do this. Just go like that, put the lid back on. What that does, it just gives it a fresh air supply. That's the only thing it's doing. Tifa, awesome. You're Bulbasaur, huh? So don't forget that. Fresh Air Friday on week 3, 4, and 5. You're going to take the lid off just for a second, put the lid back on. Okay? Now let's talk about different ways you can do this. Let's get this out of the way. Any questions up to that point? And we'll go on. Let's take any kind of questions you might have about what we're doing here. And I can show you some examples and stuff like that. Any questions? You guys let me know. Hey, hit me with some hearts, baby. If you would, drop in the chat some kind of words like, what's your favorite aeroid? Monstera, Alocasia, Philodendron, Anthurium. What's your favorite? You have Clonex. What kind of Clonex are you using? Clonex for the roots or just Clonex like fertilizer? You know what? Actually, philodendrons actually really close second. I think for me it's philodendron and then monstera and then alocasia. But alocasias are starting to like really get my attention. So people really liking the philodendron. I'll show you a neat philodendron I have. It's actually it's a rare philodendron that was grown in the 60s. So it's kind of hard to find now. Yeah, you can do that, twin mama. There's all kinds of different ways to do it. And what I tell people though is once they're established, like they get to this point, let me show you. Here's a variegated. This is a Ninja Albo. We finally got a Ninja Albo that grew that threw an all white leaf. Look at that. So once they get to this point, you can start fertilizing them. Okay. I'll show you that. I have some really cool philodendrons. I'll drag them in here and show you guys. So this is a Frydek no, this isn't Frydek. This is an Albo. See Betsy's little, these are her little tags, mine. I don't recommend fertilizing tissue cultures until you get them established. They don't really like a lot of fertilizer. Let's talk about fluval real quick. If you're gonna buy fluval stratin, go get it at Petco. You can get it on sale for 20 bucks a bag. It's like 30% off a lot of times. I don't usually fertilize until they're established and they're out of the humidity dome for about 3 weeks. And then they'll start getting quarter strength or 8 strength fertilizer, not full strength. Yes, you can get fluval on a good cheap deal. And that's why we started doing these kits, because when I started, I went out and got a bag of fluval. It was 30 bucks. Then I got a bag of perlite, 10 bucks. So there's 40 bucks. Then I had to get a dome, 10 bucks. So I was $50 in and I hadn't bought any tissue cultures yet. You can buy this kit for 18 bucks. You don't have to go out and buy a big old bag of fluval or perlite, and you have a dome. So you only spend $18 on the kit, and then that leaves money for buying tissue cultures. So instead of spending $50 on just the dry items to get going, you can spend $50 and end up buying something like this and have plants as well. So that's the advantage of the kit. So let's talk about other ways of doing it. We sell another kit. This is an $8 kit. It's basically just a deli cup. Comes with a little thing. It comes with a little bag of the soil. And then another way you can do it, go buy Taco Bell on the way home tonight and get a Taco Bell cup. I kind of like the Taco Bell cups because they're pretty tall. So if you get a really tall tissue culture like one of these that's really tall, right? You don't have to worry about it reaching the top. So Taco Bell cups, any kind of like, I tell people, hey, if you don't want to spend the money, go out in your car right now. I bet you have a Starbucks cup in the back seat. Starbucks cups, they work great. If you only have a couple to do, the single use ones work good. If you're only doing like one or two, do this. Only do a couple of these. These are nice. The reason I set these up is because they're 8 bucks. I don't have a lot of tissue culture right now. But let's say this. We usually have tissue cultures in the $8 range. So you can do this. You can give this as a gift. You buy the tissue culture, you buy the little kit, right? And you can give this to a friend at work or your sister, brother for a gift. And now you can get them involved and just say, hey, look, in the bottom of the cup, I'll just put like 1/8 of an inch. You just want to keep the humidity up. It's not to water it, it's to keep the humidity up. And these are nice because then you can, and these little kits come with these, it comes with the labels that I showed you, all three. So it kind of gives them step by step of what to do. So if you give this to somebody, all they really need is peroxide and a brush, and they're off to the races, right? And they're not expensive. They're like $8. So we have those as well. Anyway, you can do the same thing without my thing. You can just go get a freaking a deli cup from Starbucks. Put your little pot in there of some kind. Make sure it has holes in the bottom so it can drain. And then you just mess with this as the vent, you know? Open them one at a time. Call that week 3, you know? Call that week 4. Call that week 5, and then on week 6 you start taking the lid off, just like the other one. So you can do a single one and just use these as humidity kits. They work great. Okay. Any questions that of anything I didn't go over? Yeah, probably not a good idea to fertilize them yet. Yeah, I got these. I started carrying these. You guys know what these are all about? You only have to spray it once, watch. You don't have to continually do that. Yeah, these work great. I get these off of Amazon. You can get them a 3-pack for like, I don't know, I think like $9 or something like that. These are the ones I use. Okay. What else can we talk about? Here's a product that I really we're gonna start carrying these. These little label makers are nice. You can get them on Amazon for like $20. They make these little labels. We don't have these on this in the shop right now. And then we normally carry, where's my hydro? Here's one right here. We give these away a lot as, oh, I didn't do a givey. Let me do a givey real quick. Sorry guys, I forgot about the giveaways. We're just doing seeds today. Go jump in the giveaway, you'll get a pack of seeds from us. So these are a really nice product. These are made by Govee. They're Bluetooth hygrometer, so it has temperature and humidity, and you can set um, alarms that go to your phone. Super nice product. I've had one of these for like 10 years, and they work great. And if let's say you have a big humidity kit, you can just drop this in your dome. You can drop this in your dome, and it actually has a histogram for like for over 30 days. You can see the humidity hour by hour for over 30 days. And then you set an alarm. Say you don't want your humidity to go below, say, 70. You set an alarm for humidity alarm at 70. At 69, at 71, or at 69%, it's going to send you an alarm to your phone. Same way with the temperature. You can set a temperature alarm and a humidity alarm. Yeah, they have some other products that are even better than these if you want to spend the money. But these are cheap, man. Not super cheap, but they're reasonably priced. We give these away a lot of times for giveaways for our buyer giveaways. So if you guys haven't bought from us, come check it out. We give these away. We give these away as giveaways. You guys go jump in the giveaway. We're gonna give a pack of of garden seeds today. Bets right now her channel is Bets RHO. BETS RHO. Let's do it right now. So you guys can go bookmark hers. It's at BET. I think that's correct. Oh, Julie, that's awesome. I can't wait. I'm excited. Yes, we normally sell tissue cultures. Yes, we do. And we're starting to do plants every month or so. We may start doing plants every 2 weeks. So, we have plants like this that we're going to start selling. Her name is Betsy, Betsy. Yeah. So we normally we haven't had an auction in a couple weeks. We've been waiting on an order. Your temperature range, tissue cultures like to be more cooler than hot. So they like it between 65 and 75. If you get up above 85, 90, you'll start seeing them struggle. They don't like it. So you're better to be cooler than hotter. 75, 75 is perfect. And even 65 is fine. They'd rather be cool than warm. Yeah. Yeah. So normal house temperatures. Bryan, Julie. Thank you. Appreciate you, Julie. This will be the first gift I was given on here. Pretty cool. I'm kind of excited. And I didn't go on my trip yet. I'm gonna have to put it off for a while. I got some stuff to do first. Anyway, any questions on let me flip this around. You guys can look at my nose. Any questions on the class today? Is there anything that we could have added? Morris fam, you learned a couple things today. Is that what you're saying? Stormy, we spray with alcohol. You gotta be careful with neem oil. If you're gonna spray with neem oil, you want to test spray a one plant first. Neem oil can like kill your plant sometimes. Mine's like 82. They'll be okay at 80. Just once they get at 90 plus, they'll start having problems. You don't need to fertilize because that's part of why you use fluvalstratin. Fluvalstratin is actually a fertilizer that's very, very, very weak. And that's what new plants with small roots like. They like that very weak solution. Recommend do not use regular fertilizer for them until they're out of acclimation. Do you mix alcohol with water? Stormy, you talking about spraying for the bugs? Straight alcohol. Straight alcohol. Turn your lights off though. When you spray with alcohol, turn your lights off, spray, let it dry before you turn your lights back on. They don't like light with the alcohol on. And it does a really good job actually. We just started using alcohol ourselves. I like it. It works good. And I always have it around, so makes it really simple. I'm trying to think if I left anything out today. Betsy says label, label, label. Yeah, they want to see your cabinet. Hey, is your cabinet viewable? Can we show your cabinet? People are wanting to see your cabinet.
Turn off the thing. Yeah, I just kind of redid it.
All right, we'll show.
I'm not done, but I just did it a little bit.
Okay,
I put two things together.
so she just redid this. These are our Nobilis that we set up. Those are what are those? They're the black velvet golds. They're saying, do you like those boxes? We
I love
we
them.
really do.
I just
Keeps the
repotted
humidity
these
up.
just now.
She just potted those up. So this is her third one. You got some more to the ones. These aren't the ones you're wanting me to put together, right?
Yeah, I got a couple of them done.
Oh, you did.
Yeah. And that's
And
my form.
these are her corn cabinet,
Work
and
in
then
progress.
she's got other stuff going on. This is her own little area. So this is her area that she's working on doing corms in.
My babies.
Morris fam says mine doesn't hold humidity.
I have the humidity thing. Check it right there.
So we have a hygrometer in there, so we can keep an eye on it. Sometimes on some of your boxes, what you'll want to do is just try to seal them up a little better than what they're sealed. Ours hold pretty good humidity because there's so much moisture in the cups. It all depends on your situation though. Some people is in a drier area than us. Yeah, I would think so. I would think clear silicone will work fine. Just let them dry real good before you put your plants in there. Yeah, see, you're really dry, Morris fam. Morris fam says she needs your PO box. Send me a message, Morris fam. I don't know where she got these. Babe, did you figure out where we ordered those cabinets from?
No, not the one I love, but other ones.
We found some new ones that we just got. We'll give you a review on those.
I like the ones with the risers, but I can't find them. But the other ones seem to be fine.
The ones that I just showed you, we're not sure where we got them. We're trying to figure it out. But she just ordered some new ones that she'll see how those work out. I'll let you know. Embrace the mess. Morris fam wants your address, babe. She got something she wants to send you. That's nice of you. That's yeah.
Allocation girls.
Alocasia bros, huh?
Girls.
Well, alocasia gals.
Yeah.
Okay.
My address is Go Big Zadder.
She found me again. Sure. Um, anything, what do I do? Is there anything I missed today that you guys anything is there anything we didn't go over or we could that we could have done a better job at? Did you guys like it by not having no music? I thought about doing music in the background, but I don't want it to interrupt my voice while I'm trying to teach. Julie, sure. I'm always down for seeds. Matter of fact, let me run another givey. Let's run another givey. We're going to give away seeds. Okay, any other questions? If we don't have any other questions, I'm going to go into part 2. And today, I need a fan going, I think. I think the pups, we try to keep them above 60. Anything below 60, thanks, babe. Anything below 60, they'll start struggling. Thanks, Stormy. Appreciate that. Morris fam says like sprouted corn babies.
Yeah.
I would say higher than that, huh? A sprouted corn baby, you'd want to keep it above.
It depends. If it's a light leaf, I keep it in 100% high humidity because of it doesn't have the green stuff.
Right. So Bet says on the lighter colored leaves, like whites and pinks, light pinks, she keeps them in a higher humidity. The ones that are more green, she'll let the humidity come more towards 70.
Yeah,
But the other one, she'll keep them at 100.
I baby them.
Yeah, she'll baby them, like really keep them really moist. I'm doing the same on the floor. I've got like 5 watt Sonia babies. Let's see. I probably should show off my philodendrons. Let's go into, are you guys good with the class? Any questions? Yeah, usually you'll see 60% being the where you'll start seeing issues. Even with your bigger ones. Unless you go to Leica. If you go into Leica, you won't see the problems that you see with humidity. Let me show you a cool Leica that I set up. I personally like Leica because once you get it set up, there's no maintenance on it. That one in Leica?
Like,
Yeah, there we go. That's perfect.
but I put the moss on it, the schlagum.
Shellagum. Betsy calls moss shellagum. She can't remember what it's called. Okay, let's see. Let's flip this around. Here's a philodendron. Let me pull this back so you can see. Here's a philodendron that we set up in Leica. See, it has some moss on the top. Betsy added a little moss on the top, and you can give it a little. It kind of keeps the upper root ball kind of damp, but it's actually set up in a self-watering. This is just a what they call an orchid pot with water in the bottom. But this is 100% Leica, guys. Look, there's no maintenance to this thing. You don't get bugs. I can leave on a trip and leave this plant just like it is for a month, and it'll be fine. And look at it; it's happy as hell. It's happy, right? Hey, are you gonna press and seal? Morris Pham says
I gotta buy it. I want to,
she's gonna try it.
because I want bigger corns.
She wants bigger, faster corms. She's a little impatient,
a lot.
a lot impatient. She's trying to. She keeps asking me, how can we make them grow faster?
Because I want corns.
She says, leave us alone, Big. She's coming to your rescue.
Yeah, it's because we're pals. We're allocation.
So this thing's been set up in Leica since I got it, and it's just happy. And then this is another. I'll just show you this one. Get this one. This one got hurt a little bit, so I got a couple hurt leaves on it. But this is a Monstera. Can't think today. Constellation. Can Betsy just come to Texas? She's on restriction. She just went on a 2 week laying on the beach trip without me. Look at that thing. She's asking, she goes, can Betsy come to Texas? I'll take her to PlantCon with me.
Absolutely. Vacation.
She loves vacations. Okay. This is a Mexicana. Nature, you just won yourself a pack of seeds. Let me get a light going here. Oh, so you can see it better. How come my not light's not on? Oh, there we go. I don't want that on. You can hear my laminar flow hood firing up. Look at this thing. This is a Philodendron mexicana. Look at this. And it's in Leica as well. It's happy. Look at the color of the pink this thing throws. This is called a mexicana.
You got that for 3 weeks.
No, I got this from
Puerto
Puerto Rico. Okay. And then I have one more that was actually
Rico.
Let me set this up. I can set up here, but it's pretty big, isn't it? Don't show me. She's afraid I'm going to show her. Yeah, we got to do. If you guys don't know, this is a laminar flow hood right here we're looking at in front of us. That's what this is. And that's going to be part 2 of the class. I'm going to actually mix up some agar and kind of show you guys what that's all about.
Put that in like that.
Is that my so this is a very rare a variety that used to be very popular in the plant trade in the 60s. And my buddy at 3B Gardens, they found one of these growing on some property that used to be like a somebody's personal garden outside. And I got some top cuttings of this. It's called, it has a really weird name, man. But you can't get these. These things get like 30 feet tall. Morris fam, got you. What? What's your question? So I'm excited about this one. What do y'all do with stratum from changing pots? I would just use it as like an organic fertilizer. Just add it to your garden, add it to your container pots. It's just an organic fertilizer, is what it is. It's just very weak, very slow reacting, slow release. Just put it right in anything you're growing. Yeah, you could wash it and reuse it. It's a lot of effort, but um, I just throw it in all my potted plants. Yeah, it breaks down. I just put it in my potted plants. I like reusing stuff, but when it comes to potting up my stuff, I'll look at this shot here. Look at me.
What's your favorite place?
Yeah, these are my babies right here. These are my favorites. Yeah, I like the philodendrons a lot myself. Okay, you guys down for doing some science work here today? What I thought I'd do, I wanted to show you guys what it takes. What they do in the labs. Oh, thanks, Julie. I don't even know how to react, Julie. I appreciate you. I've never had anybody like give us something. I appreciate you. You guys didn't know Julie made us some real nice headgear for riding. Mine's got real nice skulls on it. Yeah, they're handmade, which means the world to me. I know what handmade gifts are all about. Okay, let's talk about my t-shirt real quick, and then I'm gonna show you like in the labs, how do they make this and what's it all about? And this is what's in your bag. When you get your tissue culture, you see the gel in there? That's what that is. That's agar. And the agar isn't, it's kind of its name not quite right. It's actually a growing medium. Agar is just one component of what's in that bag. Yeah, I'm going to try that. I can't wait to get mine. My bald little head, see that? Got me a nice trim this morning. My bald little head doesn't like the sun anymore, so I got to have something on there. Am I muted? Oh, hang on. Can you hear me now? Yes, I do. I'm sure I pushed the button. Hang on. Oh yeah, we're good. I turned the volume down. Let me get rid of this fan. I want this light on here though. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna just go through how to set up how to mix agar. Yeah, your head having your head cool or warm. I learned that backpacking is makes a big deal. You ever go somewhere where it's really cold, like you're sleeping where it's really cold? Wear a beanie to bed. It'll make your life so much better. You warm your head up, your whole body's warm. You like the cold. I hate the cold. I cry like a little girl when I'm cold. I'm serious. What's weird, I don't get cold when I'm on my bike. Head and feet. Yep, exactly. When I started doing backpacking, they taught us don't wear any clothes to bed and put on something on your head and your feet. And man, you'll stay toasty toasty. Your clothes actually trap your temperature in your clothing. When you don't have clothes on, it warms up your bag. And a nice rock in the fire. I used to do that. Put a big old rock in the fire, get it hot, and dig a hole and bury that rock, and then put your sleeping bag right over it and put your feet right over where that rock's at. Okay, let's get rolling. So I'm going to walk you through so you guys can kind of understand what it takes to get going on making. Like, let me give you a shot of what we got going so far. So this is this week's like little plan we had going on. Oh, I need to talk about my shirt too. So here's some agar we set up. These are all set up. Plants in agar. We're starting to work on learning the other side of this, and that is, how are they created? And these right here, we created from one tissue culture. Okay. And then we multiplied it. Where's my multiplication one? Don't know what I did with it. Hang on, I gotta find it. There it is. So we multiplied it and then we turned it into this. And then we took these and we cut these up into pieces. And then now we have all these from one little piece of tissue. Okay. So we're going to show you guys today what does it take to get to this point and start tissue culture, how to grow a tissue culture. And it's not really here to teach you how to do it. I just want you guys to understand the process that it takes to get a tissue culture um, to this point. And these are not, this that I'm showing you, we're not selling these. These are ours that we did for ourselves. I'm just trying to learn as much as I can about the process. Someday we hope to have our own tissue cultures available. What do I do? So let's go through. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you what it takes to mix agar. So let me print out. Oh, I got my print right here. So basically, it's like making a cake. You basically have a recipe. It tells you what to add. Okay. So when you do agar, all of this has to be sterilized. So we make the agar, we pour the agar into these, and then this gets sterilized, the whole thing with the agar in there. These we already did, we let them cool down and all that. We made these a couple days ago. Babe, do you have that one that had the contamination in it? So what you do, once you make these up, you want to let them sit for about 3 days to make sure you have no contamination.
No, it was my heartwood and I took it
Oh,
out.
you took it out already?
It's like,
So what you do is, once you mix this up, you just watch the surface of these for about 3 days. If you have contamination, you're going to start seeing white stuff growing on the surface. So far, these look pretty good. So I'm going to show you what it takes to get to this level right here. And then once you get to here, then you put a piece of tissue in that. And I'll show you, these are the ones we just set up with tissue. These have a small piece of tissue in them. Let me show you the BioTilt. I'm gonna pull one of these wires. And these are the same way. All this has to be sterilized. So this is fully sterile. This is sterilized water. This is a sterilized plant. This whole jar is sterilized. And this is our system that we started using. And it basically rotates 4 times a day. I think it's at 4 now, babe. It was at 2. And then it holds it there for 30 seconds and then it pulls it back. And they say this system is 5 to 7 times more productive than just using agar like this. But initially, you want to start with the agar. Okay. So let's mix up some agar real quick. What do you mean by tissue? Is it a piece of the plant? Sorry for no, that's not a dumb question at all. So, in order for a plant to grow from tissue, it has to have what they call meristem in it. And meristem usually comes from a node where the plant goes like this and then it has another branch growing off of it. That's a node. But what you can do, you can just use a tissue culture. And what we do, we take the tissue culture like this, say, you cut all the leaves off. Once in a while, I'll leave one little leaf. You cut off all the roots, you cut off all the leaf, and you just grab that little Y. You see that little Y? Because it has the meristem in it that it needs to grow a new plant. If you try to do this with just a leaf, it will not reproduce. Some plants will, like begonias will, but most plants won't. So you need a piece of tissue that has meristem in it. So usually from a node. Okay? So that's what we start with. We usually will cut this off, we'll get rid of all the root, we'll leave it, we'll get rid of all that, and maybe leave that one leaf. Okay? So let's do agar real quick, and I'll show you what it takes for equipment. So one thing you have to have to mix agar is you have to have a stirrer. And to get set up for this, it costs about, without a laminar flow hood, and I'll talk about that too. Without a laminar flow hood, you can get set up for about $1,000. By the time you buy all the equipment, you buy the chemicals, the jars, everything you need, you're about $1,000 into it. And we had to save up. It wasn't like we got all this extra money laying around to do this with. So you need 1,000 liter, I need a 1 liter container. And we're going to go through that. And it has a magnetic deal on it. See how that's magnetic? Watch when I turn it on. See how it stirs? This goes in the water. And when you go like that, it helps stir the water up. And we'll talk about why that's so important. You guys let me know if it's get boring as hell. We don't have to continue. I just thought this would be fun to share with you guys. And with you see, this is graduated up to 1,000. So what we're going to do, we always start with distilled water, okay? So we're going to fill this to 900 because when we get done, after we add all of our stuff, we're going to top this off right to 1,000. Okay? Here we go. So let's do that. And I'm going to walk you through the recipe. And so what you need a stirrer. You need a 1 liter beaker. This one has a nice little lid that you can put on top. You need a nice scale for measuring grams. So if you're a drug dealer, you're halfway there. Scale that. Where do I put all this stuff?
I have this scale, my
I got it.
cooking scale.
I like using this one. Okay, so you're gonna need a small scale. You can pick these up for like $20. I had to purchase this, by the way. I did not have one on hand. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean. Okay, and so we're gonna do the recipe. What do I do with my recipe? That's one thing you gotta remember. Don't lose the recipe.
No scale.
So basically, you're gonna measure stuff out in grams, and you're gonna measure some of this out in milliliters, milligrams per liter. And I'm going to explain that to you. And that's another piece of equipment you need. You need a pipette, and I'll show you what that is. And you need pipette tips. So this is a pipette. It basically allows you to make very small measurements of liquid. Okay. And these are the tips. So what you do is you load the tip, you draw in the liquid, you dispense the liquid, and then you eject the tip. You never use the tip twice, so you don't cross contaminate your chemicals. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about. Okay, so how do we know what we're putting in this? Well, I have the recipe, but so initially what you do, you start out with the multiplication media. So you want to take one little piece of tissue culture like this and say, hey, mixture, I want you to multiply. And that's going to determine what your recipe is. Because at some point you're going to say, hey, mixture, I want you to grow roots. And this is going to change into a rooting recipe. Okay? So right now, today, we're going to make a multiplication recipe. And this is what it looks like. So we're going to start with 900 milliliters of water to add to this. And we're going to top that off to 1,000 by the time we're done. We're going to go right to 900 and call that good, okay? And when we're done, all this liquid has to be sterilized before we can use it. Here we go. I need some, I got to grab some water, guys.
Here's distilled water.
Is it distilled for sure?
Well, it says it on the bottom.
Yeah, that's perfect.
You need gloves.
No. Okay, so here's distilled water, cheap distilled water from Rayleigh's. We're gonna fill this to 900. You don't have to be exactly 900. You just want to be close, but you don't want to fill it all the way 1,000 because you're gonna add liquid, or we're gonna add dry products to that. So if you start at 1,000, your mixtures are gonna be all off, and it's critical. All this stuff right here is critical. The measurements are critical. This will make or break you. They call these boats for measuring stuff out. I'm just going to use one during this one. So here's one of the reasons I'm doing this today. I want you guys to understand why do we clean agar? Why are we so worried about it? So I'm going to put this on here. I'm going to start my scale. So what it does is this will measure. Did I do that right? Hang on, let me turn this back off. You want to put this on before you turn it on. That way it figures out the weight of your container. Let's give it a second. What's going on with my scale? I'll just tear weight it. It's just hard to get that button. Give me a second, guys. Usually I just set it on there, but my scale was being very slow. You don't like that it's sitting on there. So you set that on there, and then you have to push tear weight. No, it's fine. It's the operator. Hang on, I just can't get to the button. My fingers are too fat. So you put your container on there, and then you push tear weight, and it'll subtract the weight of the container. So now you see how I take that off, and it says 6 grams. And when I put it on there, it goes to 0. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mix in, and this is one of the biggest reasons I'm doing that. See where it says sucrose? That's sugar. And that's why it's so important that we clean the agar off of the plants. The sugar is the source of the food for bacteria and mold. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to mix in the sugar. And it's just basic table sugar. So we're going to put 30 grams of sugar. So we're just going to add to this until it reads 30. You guys can't see the scale, but I can. Okay, and I usually put the sugar and the MS in first because it takes them a while to dissolve. Okay, we're pretty close to 30 grams. So that's 30 grams of sugar, right? So we're just going to put that in the water. We'll turn our stirrer on. It actually stirs up pretty good, you'll see. See how it does that? And then just slowly add your sugar in. So there we go. There's our sugar. Now let's talk about MS, what MS is. I found this really interesting. So MS is what has all the vitamins in the perfect so, levels for this thing so it can grow. Your nitrogen, it has micronutrients, macronutrients, vitamins, and glycine, which I really don't sure about the glycine. But the name of this is Marashigi and Scooch. That's the name of the two guys that first came out with the tissue culture, the whole process. Like back in like 1910 or something like that. This is the last name of the founders and the guys that really created this whole industry that we have was Mirashigi and Scooch. Okay? So we're going to look at our recipe and it says MS 4.43 grams. So we're going to add 4.43 grams. I'm going to go grab a little spoon. You want to grab me a little tiny spoon, small if you got, because it's easy to over. So we're just going to put 4.43 grams of Mirashigi and Scooch. Yeah, just a teaspoon or something. Yeah, that'll work.
It's my shovel.
Your shovel. So we're going to use Betsy's little shovel. And we want to go 4.3 grams. And this is the part that's pretty, you got to get it right. You can't be 5, 6, 7. It has to be 4.3. So there's 2. And this is kind of the thing you use the most of right here is this. I'm going to turn this fan on. It's effectively helps you. Hang on, guys. Let me turn this fan on. You don't want anything blowing on your scale because it will affect it, especially when you're measuring this small amounts like this. So I got just a little too much. There's 4.4. There's 4.26. 4.3. Very critical. The measurements on this is critical. And this will make or break your whole process. If you do not get these measurements right, it will fail. Okay. So we're at 4.3. We're going to go ahead and put the Marashigi and Scrooge in. Scooge, because it is a dry. It is a dry. You want to get it all out too. You don't want to leave nothing behind. You want to make sure you get it all in there. That's what's nice about these little boats. They call them measuring boats. Okay. So we'll just keep that running. So now we got our sugar and our MS in there, right? The agar we always put in last, and I'll tell you why on that. So now we're going to use 2 chemicals that are in liquid form, and they're called BAP and NAA. And what BAP is telling this thing, hey, I want you to multiply. So it's a plant growth regulator called BAP. It is liquid. It's fluid. What did I just put in there? I thought I did 4.4. Thought you said 4.3. Okay, yeah. 4.43. We were at like 4.39 or something like that. Like I said, it's critical, but if you're in within one hundredth of a tenth, you're good. In other words, you don't want to be 5, you don't want to be 2 or 3. You got to be 4 point whatever they tell you. You want to be as critical as you can. Good, Stormy. That's what you want to do with this. You got to get it right. I thought maybe I grabbed the wrong one. I've done that before too. I got in the habit of putting the lid on when you're leave the lid off when you're using it. Put the lid on when you're done. That way, if you set it down, you're like, which one was I using? It kind of helps you. So this BAP basically tells the plant, hey, I want you to multiply. When I first did my first one, I didn't put any of this NAA. And NAA is actually for rooting. It's actually for callousing. But they say when you put it in small amounts with the BAP, it actually works better. So it makes it multiply better with just a small amount of the NAA. So let's talk about the pipette. Pipettes measure from 0 to 1,000 ULs, what they call ULs. So you have to convert this. See right here where I have 500? BAP is 0.5 grams per liter, which is 500 on this scale. So you set this to 500, and it has a little thing on the end right here. You turn that until you're at 500. And this only measures from 0 to 1,000. And it just measures very small amounts. It's a way to be able to measure very accurately. Okay, see how I'm at 500 right there? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to load a pipette tip. So we'll go like this. We'll open this. We load this onto the tip like that. See how it loads the tip? Now we'll draw out 500 of the BAP and we'll put that in our mixture. These have two different levels. Like you push down till you feel that resistance. If you push hard, you'll see how that moves. See how that moves? That's just to get the last little drop out the end. So when you're filling it, you just want to go to that first step, put it in your container, draw it up. Now you see how what we've drawn up? It's hard to see, but so we're going to put that in there. We're going to go to the, it's hard to see. I don't have it. Let me get my camera adjusted. So hang on. I want to adjust this camera right. Man, I tell you, that's on the job, didn't I? So we're just going to push it all the way to the tip so it gets every bit of it out of there. So we just added 500 ULs. And then on here, if you look, you see that little blue button? That's going to eject the tip. Watch. And the reason we do that is we don't want to stick that tip back in our next in our next chemical and cross contaminate them. Okay, so now we're going to put in 0.5 grams per liter. I'm sorry, 0.05 grams per liter of NAA. So we need to dial down our pipette to 50. Okay, so here we go. You guys bored to death yet? I love this stuff. I love learning new things. And I'm not an expert at this by any means. I'm still learning. But I'm going to be an expert when I get done. Okay, so now we're going to load a new pipette. And this is how they're done in the laboratories. This is how they make agar. Exactly what we're doing. At a much larger scale, of course. So we're going to take the NAA. I usually give it a little shake. And we're going to load 50. We moved our scale to 50. You see where it says 50 now? It's a very small amount. Look what a small amount this is. Can you see that? Let's see if I can get a better shot for you guys. Can you see what a small amount that is? It's like 5 drops. Oh, that's cool, soil. I love this stuff. I like learning new. I've always loved learning new things. I'm always learning. That's what I love about some of the platforms you can get on. It's like a free education. So now we're going to add this 50 to our mixture, right? And you know, it looks like a lot, but it's only like 5 drops. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to eject our tip. Now we're done with this pipette. And that's the only reason for the pipette. It measures very precise small amounts of liquid. Nature's Crush. That's awesome. Maybe we can do some collaboration. I want to make some beard oil. I'm trying to learn how to make beard oil. Here we go. All right, so we did all that, and there's a reason I left the agar out, okay? So now you make it, Julie? Yeah, I want to come up with Go Big beard oil. Everybody keeps telling me, man, you need to lean into that beard. And I said, what a great product. I could do Go Big beard oil.
Like a
And
manly, woodsy.
a woodsy, mansy scent with like a black container with green letters that says go big or go home. So I'm going to talk about this ppm. You put the agar in last. See right here, before agar, pH to 5.8. And we're going to have to adjust the pH on this to 5.8. But we don't do that. We do that prior to putting in the agar. Okay? And all the agar does, do I have agar here? I got to go grab some agar. All the agar does is it makes it turn to a solid. That's the only thing the agar does. There's a big one, but there should be a small. I might have it. I got it right here. I don't know if I have enough. I want to use it up. What we have. So this is agar. It's similar to what you use for jelly. You know how you make jelly and then you add I forget what it's called, but it makes it turn to a gel. That's what agar is. Pectin, exactly. So that's all the agar does is it makes it turn from a liquid to a gel. So it's kind of misconceiving when you hear people say, "Well, it's agar in the bag." No, it's not just agar. It's plant growth regulators, right? It's Mirashigi and Scrooge, which is vitamins and minerals, plant food, and then we're gonna go add another item that I'll talk to you guys about. So this will be the last thing we put in. We're going to pH it and then we're going to add this. But I'm going to go grab this new product I started using. It's called ppm. And what it does, thanks, babe. What it does is it keeps you from getting a better chance of not having contamination. So it's a non-contamination additive. And when the first time we did this, we had a lot of contamination. So it helps with contamination. Thanks, babe.
The first time.
Very expensive too, though. So if you ever to get into this, what you're going to want to do is buy a big jar of this and a big jar of agar, because those are the two things you use the most of. And then this ppm, you got to keep this in the refrigerator. And that's why it's important to change that tip, right? You don't want to go sticking this in here when you had it in the NAA. You got to keep this clean. So what we're going to do, we're going to measure this down. I have it written on here so I don't forget I already converted it. I need to put in 1,000 ULs on my pipette. So I'm gonna take this up to 1,000. It's just like baking a cake, man. It's just a recipe, is all it is. You just have to pay attention. Don't be disrupted while you're doing it, and just try to stay focused. I'm one of those guys that I'm very like I can only focus on one thing at a time, man. Betsy is really good at like multitasking, and I suck at it. I'm really good at getting things right, but I can't be disturbed while I'm doing it. So there's 1,000. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and load a new tip, and you can wash and autoclave these tips. You don't have to buy them over and over. You can re-sterilize them. And that's what this is for. You can put them in this and you put these right in your pressure cooker and you can re-sterilize these, right? Okay, so I loaded the tip. I'm going to open this. I'm going to draw out 1,000 UL and I'm going to add that to my mixture. So once we come out of here, we don't want to ever go back in here without a new tip on. Here we go. So we'll go ahead and inject the tip by pushing on that blue thing. Now, this can get, what I usually do with my pipette, I just got used to doing that from using torque wrenches my whole life, is I'll dial this down. I won't leave it set at 1,000 because I'm sure there's a spring in there and you don't want to wear that spring out. Hey Lizzie, we're showing everybody how to mix agar, the stuff that's in the bag when you get your tissue cultures. So I'm going to dial this down. I usually dial it down to 50, and then I can store it like that. and I'm not going to wear out that spring. Okay, so here we go. We're done measuring with that. We got all of our chemicals. So basically, we have agar right now. This is our mix, right? And if you look, let me get the camera up there. You guys see how we're at like, I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me turn this off. Can you see how we're just shy of 1,000? So before we add the agar, we want to bring this up right to 1,000. And this is critical. You don't want it to be 1,020. You don't want it to be 1,000, 1,100. You want to be right at 1,000. So very critical. You want to be right on the money here. Okay? Oh shit. Sorry about that, guys. Hang on. I just kicked my camera across the room. So here we go. So we're at 1,000. Here, lower this down a little bit. I'm just adjusting my camera a little bit. So now what we need to do is we have to pH this and get it down to 5.8. You see, if you do not get the pH correct here, it won't turn to a solid. It has to be at 5.8. Okay, and usually it's high. Let me go grab my pH meter. Where is my pH meter? It should be in that bucket. Voila. I was a little worried there. I didn't want to have to go looking for it. Let me teach you guys something about pH meters. I've had this meter for 20 years. Okay, cost me $100. You want to keep pH meters wet. Don't let them dry out. Anytime you store a pH meter, you need to take a little, like a tissue paper, and get it wet and wrap it around the tip. If you let the tip dry out, you'll be buying a new pH meter. So what I usually do is I'll put it in a deli with some water in it, and then I'll just turn it on and let it stabilize. Usually my water is around 7, and there's a way to you can calibrate this too as well. There's 3 different liquids you buy where you can calibrate this. So right now I'm going to pH what we have in the container. It'll probably be around 4, I'm guessing. So let's pH that. We just stick this straight into what we're wanting to measure. I don't know if you guys can see the numbers. So we're at 4.7, 4.6. So we need to bring that to 5.8. So I'm going to go grab some pH up, which is, you can buy that at any hydroponic shop. And the reason I'm doing this, I want you guys to realize that I'm really into what I'm doing. I mean, I try to learn as much as I can about the tissue cultures. I'm not just about, oh, I buy these things from Joe Blow and I sell them at a profit. I want to understand everything I can about them. So if I can create them and make them, then I'm very educated about what I'm doing. Okay? So you can buy this at any hydroponic store. I usually like to buy General Hydroponics products. This is actually the same company I use for my hydroponic system. Matter of fact, let me turn the hydro off. It's annoying me. My pump's running right now. You guys hear that noise in the background? That's my hydro unit. It's returning to the reservoir. Okay, let's see if we can get a better shot of this, and I get to sit down too. I have back issues, so standing is hard on me. Okay, can you guys see that pretty well? Can you see that it's at, you see how it's at 5.9 and just a little bit ago it was at 7? I'm going to show you something you need to be doing with pH meters. You want to go like this 3 or 4 times and get the old mixture off the tip. See how it changed? So when you come out of this mixture and into the other mixture, you want to do the same thing because you have what's in this container on that tip. So what you want to do, you want to go like this 3 or 4 times to rinse that tip off, right? So you get a good reading. Now see how the reading just changed and it went back down to 4.3? That's because I got the correct fluid around the tip now. Very important. Okay, so we're at 4.3. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my pipette, I'm going to set it to 100. I'm going to set this to 100 because that's not very much. And I'm going to, because I'm low, I want to go up. See how it says pH up? I'm going to bring the pH up by adding this to my mixture. Okay? So I'm going to draw this just like the other time. I'm going to grab a new pipette. Now don't forget, if you buy this stuff, it has to go back in the refrigerator. You can't leave this out at room temperature, it'll ruin it. Hey babe, when you got a second, can you put this ppm back in the fridge? I don't think she heard me. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to draw up 50 or 100, I'm sorry, 100 and see where we're at. Actually, I'm going to start with 50. That way I can, because sometimes you go too far and you got to go back the other way. I'm going to start with 50, which isn't very much. You'll get to see this better this time because this has some color to it. Let's see if you can, let's get this where you can see it. So we're going to pull that up with our pipette tip. See that? Look how, what a small amount that is. Very small amount. We're going to add that. We're going to go ahead and leave that tip on because we're going right back into the well, if we pull another sample, we're going to be going right back into the same container. You can move a lot with very little. I use this and pH down. Yes. And there's other ways you can do it. I have pH down as well. But normally with this stuff, it's usually needs to go up. It doesn't take much. They have some stuff called double down, and that stuff, it reacts like 2 or 3 drops. Sometimes 5 drops is too much. So you gotta, it's easier to add than to try to take it out. Once you put it in the water and you go too far, then you got to go back to the pH down. And then if you go down, you go too far, you got to go back to the up. So you want to just add very small amounts at a time. I'll let this mix. I'm going to let this mix just for a few minutes. I'm going to go grab me a soda, guys, real quick. And we'll almost be done here. We'll make sure you get that in the mail on Monday, your Fluval. Any questions while we're mixing this? Use the Gin Hydro Trio for all my plants. Yes, on all this stuff. Yeah, you know what? The general hydroponics, Noah, what we're doing is we're showing people how that the labs make tissue cultures, and this is the first step, is making this what they call agar. And we're showing what goes in that agar to make that happen. So we're basically doing what a lab would do to get a tissue culture started. Yeah, the general hydroponics, in my opinion, I've been using those for 35 years, and they're cheap. They don't clump up. They're really fluid type hydroponic nutrient solutions, and I just use the two part. I don't use the grow. I just use the bloom and the micro mixed together. So I only got to buy 2 out of 3, and they're $40 a gallon. So for $80, I have enough to last me the whole year. Yes, they do. Okay, we're going to take a pH reading. I'm going to turn that off, and let's see where we're at. So we want 5.8. Let's see where we're at. So it looks like we're at 4.6. So I'm going to add a full 100. So I'm going to go back in. I'm going to add another 100 of the pH up. So we're going to go ahead and go to 100. It's kind of a crapshoot when you do this. You don't know if you're going to go too far. And if you do, like Who's Your Daddy said, then you got to go grab the pH down. So it's kind of a guessing game. But you just adjust it up or down until you get it where it needs to be. Go ahead and stir that a little bit again. And see this stirrer I'm showing you guys? These are like $30. You can buy a really expensive one, but I bought this one on Amazon for like $30. It don't cost much. But actually to get set up 100% with all your chemicals and all your equipment, like your stir, your I have this that I use as well. This is a sterilizer they use like in tattoo shops and stuff. So you need one of these. Oh, let me move this. Let me just move this. So you need one of these so you can sterilize your equipment. Um, so there's some equipment you need to get going. So it's about $1,000 bill to get fully ready and set up to do your own tissue cultures. Because you have to buy. We bought a really nice big pressure cooker, and that's one of the things you got to have so you can sterilize everything. They use autoclaves in the labs, but a good quality autoclave will cost you about $7,000 or $8,000.
Are we going to one?
Yes. No, this Noah. This is not. I don't use producing tissue cultures at this point for any kind of cells. These are my. This is my own personal that I'm doing right now. But we hope at some point to be able to produce our own tissue cultures for sale. But right now, no. Right now, we only resell. So let's see where we're at. We're getting close. If I can get to 5.6 and I'm at 5.6, that is good enough. There's 5.7. I'd say that's money, baby. We just went to 5.8. So we're good. We're at 5.8, right on the money. So that's where we wanted to be, 5.8. So we used 150 on the pipette to bring up our pH, okay? So And you have to pH prior to putting in the agar. The agar really affects your reading. So agar goes in last. Okay. So let's go back. I already know off the top of my head without looking, but we need to go with 8 grams of agar. So I'm going to measure out 8 grams of agar. Here's our little thing. 8 grams. A lot of recipes tell you 7, but I like my agar to be a little more thick than it comes out at 7. In my opinion, at 7, it comes out kind of watery. Okay. So let's go ahead and measure out 8 grams of agar. Same kind of deal. We'll use this little scale that we paid like 20 bucks for. It wasn't very much. And the sky's the limit on these scales, guys. You could spend 500 bucks. But you don't need that real. I mean, some of this stuff is doable. Like, see this stirrer? You can get a nice stirrer, $500. This one was 30 bucks. It works fine. Same with the scale. Okay, we're gonna go with 8 grams. What do I do with my boat? I lost my boat. That's bad when you lose your boat. You go grab another one real quick. I'm bad at setting stuff down while I'm doing stuff, and I can't find it. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna measure out. I'm gonna turn this on, then I'm gonna tare weight it so we're not measuring the boat. Like that. If you look at that, that boat weighs 5.9 grams. So we're gonna do tare weight, and then when we take it off, right, it won't measure that. So we're gonna go 8 grams of agar. I think I can do this by hand. So the agar and the Mirishigi and Scooge is the one that you use the most of. And this stuff's kind of expensive. It's not cheap to do. But this is a hobby for me, so I want to learn as much as I can. And I've always been in the impression, man, just jump in and figure it out. So we're at 6.5. 7.2. We're going to go right to 8. Okay, here we are, 8 grams. We're at 8 grams. And so now what we're going to do, we're going to mix this. The agar goes in, and this stuff is ready. Yeah, I'll do that for you. Julie, I'll do that right after the show, okay? I'll do that for you. Appreciate you. So basically, once the agar goes in, I like to let this mix for about 15 minutes because, and I'll talk to you about how, so let's talk for a minute. So this will mix for 15 minutes and it's ready to go. And this is a multiplication media. This is what we would use if we were trying to multiply a piece of tissue culture, okay? So what has to happen now, they get poured into, let me show you real quick. So they'll go into these deli cups. Grant, how you doing? I'm going through people showing them how we mix up agar. So it would go into a deli cup like this, and we measure them into here, and we fill them up to about here with a turkey baster. And then these get sterilized with the agar in it. So these go in, they go into the pressure cooker, they get pressurized for 20 minutes at 17 pounds of pressure, and then they're allowed to cool. And that's when it turns to a solid. It does not turn to a solid until you heat it up and cool it down. And then when you pull it out of the pressure cooker, it looks like this. And it's sterilized, ready to go. And then what we do is we allow these to sit for about 3 days and make sure there's no contamination. And then once we feel confident there's no contamination, then we will set these in front of our laminar flow hood. I don't know if you guys can see or not. You see this right behind me? This is a laminar flow hood. Very expensive. I picked one up cheap, man, because I found one used. And they use these a lot for like doing mushroom propagation. So I was able to pick one of these up like cheap. These are usually about $7,000, and it just has a big fan and a big old huge HEPA filter in there, and that keeps the contamination away while you're loading your tissues into these. Okay. So what'll happen now? I'll go put this in a pressure cooker inside these, and then they're ready to go. Now we can load tissues in here. And what we've been doing is we've been using tissue cultures for our tissues. Let me turn that back on. See how that settles at the bottom? Here's something I do too. When you're mixing this, like when you're putting them into the containers, like when you're putting them into these with the turkey baster, leave the stirrer going. Don't turn it off. Leave it going as you're pulling out of here and filling these. That keeps the agar circulating and mixed up well. That's why I run this for about 15 to 20 minutes. So we know the agar, and it has this little lid. It has a little clear lid you can put on top, just kind of keep it from splashing out. Okay, guys. The next time we do this, what I'll do is we'll go ahead and take these, because I'm going to set this agar up tonight into a pressure cooker, into containers. And the next time we do this, all right, Julie, you got it. The next time we do this, I'll walk you through step 2. Okay, now we have agar, it's fully sterilized. We'll take tissue cultures out of a sterile bag and we'll put them into the agar and we'll watch them grow. And this is what we ended up with. You know, we've done this a couple times, and this is about our 3rd or 4th time now. But we actually did get some multiplication. So this went in just like we're doing now into a tissue, a container like this with multiplication agar, and then you just put a little light on them, keep them at around 70 degrees, and keep them closed up. This takes about 12 weeks. But right now, that one little tissue we put in there now has about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's about 12 plants in there now. So what we're going to do with this one now, we're going to take it out, we're going to separate these, and we'll have 12 plants. So right now, and we have the BioTilt going. Tina, that's awesome. So we're probably going to call that good for the day. We did have a couple purchases during the live, so I'll make sure those purchases go out in Monday's mail. Let me know if there's a plant you don't have and you need for TC cultivation. All right, Julie, appreciate that. Right now, we're trying to do some higher end stuff like lemon pom poms and green on green, and like Nobilis, pink K versions. You got some Venoms. Uh, Julie says, let her know if there's anything we want to tissue culture.
I know, I think I don't know what, there's a weird one I saw that's really cool. I can't think of it.
Betsy's thinking about the one she wants to do next. Well, appreciate that offer from you. Yeah, we can do some collaboration. You can send me tissue, and I'll send you a culture when they're done. Okay, and then right as I end this, I'll send you our address, okay? Mustang, thank you for saying that. Oh, let's explain the shirt. I'm gonna do that real quickly because Betsy is giving me the side eye. She's ready to go to lunch. Okay, so I want to talk to you about the shirt. Okay, it's got a alocasia here and a stack of gold. And I did the math, okay? If you had an ounce of gold in this hand, market value right now for an ounce of gold is $4,500. If you had an ounce, now think of it by weight, if you had an ounce of tissue cultures that cost $100 a piece, yeah, Julie says, I already know, I've been down this road. Which one would you want to have? You want to take that gold? $4,000. Yeah, I know. It's not always about the money. I get it. But some people are starting to understand it's worth spending $50 on that tissue culture because you're buying gold. Really, you're buying gold. A tissue culture by weight like this is the same cost as gold. Okay, weight of gold an ounce, 4,500. A weight of tissue cultures high end, 28,000. Same weight. Tissue cultures, 28,000. So that's what the shirt's all about. When you look at gold and you look at a plant, you think, well, gold has value. That plant is worth more than that gold. In today's market, high-end aeroids are investment quality. And we're working on doing a master class, okay? On the other platform. There's another platform right here, right now, watching us live. For you guys that are on the other platform, please comment in the comments. I need to know because we're gonna start teaching a master class to teach people how to go from having nothing. Man, I was there. I was about to lose my house. I lost my wife from cancer. I lost my half of my income. I had retired and I was panicking, man. I didn't know what to do. And I'm telling you, I'm going to teach people right up to where I'm at. Go from I don't know how to sell on whatnot. I don't know how to load the the software. I don't know how to make a show and show them salesmanship and teach them strategies. So all that stuff's going to be part of our master class that's available on the other platform. Okay, so we are going to have like a class that we're going to offer people, and it's going to cost money. There's a big value there. But what our master class is going to come with is we're going to give you the resources that we have. So you have the resource to reach out and make this happen. Um, the platform is YT. I don't want to say too much on here and don't write it in the you got to be careful about moving people off platform. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying we are on other platforms. Go check it out. Same thing on the other platforms. Go Big Plants. Okay. If you're on other platforms, go look at us up on Go Big Plants. All right. Hope everybody had a good day. Hope we taught you something. I hope you learned something from it. We appreciate everybody being here today. Yes, Julie. SLF flaming. We will be providing that when we're at that level. We're not there yet. Noah, thank you. I think we postponed that for a little bit. Probably going to be at the end of the month. I got too much going on. I can't take off right now, but I am going to. I got the bike in the shop, which I never do. I never take my stuff to another mechanic, but I just got too many things going on in my back. I don't want to screw my back up right before I leave. Yeah, I won't be going nowhere. Well, I don't have a tentative plan right at this point. I just know I am going to take about a 10-day ride soon. All right. Okay, I'm going to call it a day. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. And we will probably have an auction on Friday. We have a big order coming in, and we'll probably be available for auction for a Friday show. Okay. You guys hang in there. Appreciate you being here. And as Go Big always says, go big or go home, baby. Let's go raid somebody. Hey, when we go into the raid, you guys put in there, go big, and with big green hearts. So everybody knows Go Big is in the house, baby. The Go Big crew is here. We're here to represent. Here we go. Let's go. Let's go raid one of my boys. I like this guy a lot. He's got a great live. He does some cool stuff. He's in Hawaii. He's very knowledgeable, and he does a lot of lives at night too, which is really cool. So here we go. Let's go in there. Go in big, guys. Here we go.